Hey, what's up? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And you're still with me. My name is Agatha, and I'm back to creating immigration related content for today. And finally, I have made this video. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I know that I want to make sure that I'm focused because this is a very important topic for those trying to apply for a study permit to come here to Canada. And this is the statement of purpose. When you apply for a study permit, there's lots of factors involved. Of course, one would be the documents. Documents and the requirements that you will need to provide in order to satisfy the visa officer about your application. But I would say the biggest part of it would be your SOP. And this is your study plan. A study plan can make or break your application. You may have all the documents, your application may be complete, but if you're not able to strengthen or explain what your purpose is for studying here in Canada and a whole lot of other factors involved in that, then that might just break your application. If a visa officer is not satisfied with what you mentioned in your study plan, and if they see some loopholes, no matter how big or small that may be, they may reject your application. So the best thing that you can do is to make sure that you have created a study plan or a statement of purpose that would defend your application. Now we will go further. I will be sharing. Now, of course, I'm not an expert in this, but I've been through this process and I've had several refusals, not for me, but for my family members. But since I was able to be approved on my first study permit application, then I guess I did something right. So this is one of the study plans that you may use so that you can, you can make your own study plan and put pieces together from other study plans that you may find out as well and see what works for you, see what fits into your situation, because we are in an entirely different situation. Or it can also be that we are in the same situation, but if it works for me, it doesn't mean that it works for you. So you also have to make that personal touch and make it as specific as possible to your case. Okay? So let's go through my statement of purpose, my study plan, or whatever everyone calls it. But this is my letter of explanation for why I am submitting a study permit.
Okay, let's get into this straight. But before we proceed into that, I would just like to again reiterate that I'm not an immigration consultant, so I'm not in any way an expert in submitting study permit application or doing study plans or anything really technical about immigration stuff. So I am just sharing my experience um, based on how I got through it. And also, I've made some research in the past up until now. It's a continuous learning process. So, what I do is I'm just sharing those information so that you can make your well informed decision. Okay. All right. But this is not really a legal advice or anything. Okay. Now, when I did the study plan, so I had the idea of coming into Canada about 2017 or 2018, but it was 2018 that I actually started doing it. And then when I got into my chosen program in my chosen school, the next thing to do was to prepare for a study permit application. Now, as I said, the biggest part would actually be explaining why you'd want to come to Canada as a student. Now, I did not know how to write a study plan. I did not know where to start, what I would need to include that. So basically, what I did was I joined Facebook groups, those that are also doing their study permits. And I also had my fair share in paying agents, consultancies to guide me. But I believe, in my experience, it was better when I did my application. So at the end game was I was the one doing the application. I did all five of our applications. I just was able to speak to a couple of friends and those that went through the process as well, with the help of the CIC website as well. It just takes a lot of time and effort and research to be able to put it together, but it's worth it in the end. And the glory and the feeling of satisfaction when you're able to have an approved study permit all by your own efforts, it just really, is very rewarding. So anyway, I looked into the refusal letter that has been sent to some of the groups that I've joined in. So that's where I based that these are the factors that an officer is looking for. So I guess that's what I would have to include in my study plan, because these are what they're looking for and they refuse you based on this ground. So why don't I take this as a step and use each factor? So as you can see, the others are more into like documents and how you're able to um, like to complete a medical exam or anything, but mostly the study plan falls into these factors. So I use this as my format in my study plan. I tackled each and all that is related to my application. Of course, this one, having a legitimate business purpose in Canada, is not included because I do not intend to go to Canada for business. So the rest, travel history, immigration status, family ties, length of stay, purpose of visit, employment prospects, current employment situation, especially assets and financial status, and history of contravening conditions, and the funds, of course, those are what I used in my study plan or in my letter of explanation. I really don't know how to call it because a lot of people call it in different ways, but let's just go with your letter of explanation. Okay, right. So this is actually the refusal letter that we got. We submitted as a family of five. So me, my husband, and my three kids. Two are for study permit minor. One is for a visitor visa because my youngest was only about 3 years old and she's not going to go to school. So we submitted as a family of five, and it was an SDS application. So it was an expedited one with the extra requirements that you would have to, yes, and of course that's SDS, so with the extra requirements that you would need to obtain. So I have a separate vlog if you would like to know what SDS is. Okay, so let's go straight into the SOP. So this is my SOP. I would say that it's not really perfect, but I guess it'll do because my application was approved. So please keep in mind that out of five applications, I was the only one approved, so I won't be going through all of the factors, especially those that I have mentioned as part of my family coming into Canada, because that did not work. They were rejected. But basically, the reason for the rejection was purpose of stay and length of visit. So possibly I wasn't really able to explain clearly why they will be coming with me to Canada. But the rest of the factors I would say was on point as a study permit applicant. So that's what we're going to be discussing. So this is how I formatted my letter of explanation. Okay, so I did it a statement of purpose. I would say the only thing that I would want to change in this, because I wasn't really that of an expert when I did this, and it was also trying to put up everything that I've learned. So if I were to redo this statement of purpose now that I've been through so much refusals and I've had more experiences in in those things, I would say that this is 4 pages. But if I take out um, the f- the explanation for why my family is gonna come with me, so it's gonna come down to about 3 pages. So I could have made it shorter, okay? But that would depend. if you have a lot to explain and your situation warrants explanation between different factors, then you may go ahead with this as long as you can explain it very clearly. You're not beating around the bush and all of that. The reason why I had lots of explanation is because I knew that my profile wasn't really as good as what the others that were approved is. So I basically did not have properties back home. I did not really have relatives left in the Philippines. They're all abroad. Others are here in Canada. Some are in the US. So there really are red flags in my situation already, that as a visa officer, I already assumed that this is gonna spark an interest and start a couple of questions in their mind. So as the negative thinker that I am, and I also want to look forward as to what's going to happen in the future, I tried looking into all angles. So I tried addressing them even though they haven't asked yet. So it's better that way, that any information that they require, any questions that they may have, I have already addressed it. So that's one thing that I would do, is to probably rephrase and shorten some of these and eliminate some that doesn't really stand out. But let's try to go ahead, and I'll inject some tips as we go along the way, because this is again the first time that I have read it again. Okay, so the format is this. I guess this would work. So the date and the visa address. So this is for those in the Philippines. And then this is the subject. So dear sir, madam, I hope this letter finds you well. I state your name, 27 years old, married and with 3 kids. Have been modestly accepted in Bow Valley College, Alberta's largest community college and Calgary's only comprehensive community college, and will be taking up business administration program. It is a 2-year diploma course that will start on and will end on. The business administration diploma program is designed to provide learners with skills, blah, 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 blah. I am delighted to apply for a study permit that will enable me to come to Canada, attend, and complete this course. I have made this personal statement of purpose as detailed as I can to be able to present to you my insights in all avenues you may have questions to. So this is basically just like an introduction of what is so this is basically just like a brief introduction of what the officer would be expecting in the statement of purpose, what's it about, and a brief message of the program that I am in there. Okay. So as I mentioned, I looked into the factors. I looked into the different areas in the refusal reasons, and then I did not really address them paragraph per paragraph. So some that are connected, I tried doing them in one section. So for example, is the educational background. Why do I aspire to study abroad, and specifically why in Canada? Because if you want to study abroad, there are lots of destinations like US, Australia, New Zealand. That is also a destination for international students. So why would you want to come to Canada? I think those are some of the really big questions that they have. Okay, so this is connected to my situation, so I'm not sure if this is going to relate to you. But for me, I have a background in nursing, but I did not pursue that. Um, so I had a different career. So this actually might help those that are in the same situation that have a business background in the Philippines. So I am a call center agent, or I am in the managed somehow senior position in the Philippines back home, and I had a nursing background. So for some it may be a red flag if you have a nursing background, if you have a nurse, because it's in demand here and a lot of people really want to get into the healthcare industry here. So that's one thing you also have to address, that you're not here for that. Okay, so let's just read through my SOP. I currently hold an associate degree in health science education, which is also a program leading to bachelor's of science in nursing. Due to different factors, and mainly because I started a family of my own at a young age, I decided to work to provide for us and opted not to pursue further studies. During that time, the BPO industry was one of the most dynamic and fastest growing sectors in the Philippines, and the employees needed for various job roles were substantial. Also, putting into consideration that the pay was more enticing than other fields, having been raised in a foreign country and graduated primary and secondary education in an international school which molded me well, I had confidence and high hopes that I could penetrate this industry and land a job. Blessed, I had various offers and started my career. My parents worked abroad and we were given the opportunity to come with them and were able to graduate elementary and high school and international schools. Um, so this is mainly where I let them know that I have experience in international schools, living abroad, and I know the advantages that it brings. So that's also why I want to take up a post-secondary course as well in a different country. So studying in a foreign country equipped me with knowledge plus extra skills and competency having to deal with different cultures. Having studied abroad, I have seen the difference in the methods of teaching and the diversity in the system itself, plus the advantages of cultural diversity and its good impact. An international education definitely has more to offer. With that in mind, plus the passion and thirst to further my business expertise, I have envisioned to be able to study again in an international school abroad. There were delays. Yeah, because I had I think a 10-year gap in education. So I explained, of course, I raised a family of my own and I had to work to provide during that time. So there were delays, but I am excited to finally be here at this stage where everything has fallen into place and I can make this dream possible, especially noting two big factors. Now funds are available, plus I have already solidified my goals and plans and are concrete as to what I want to achieve in completing this course. So this part is where I explain how I chose to be in this program and in this school and in this country. So in taking up an education abroad, the countries on my short list were US, Australia, and Canada. Canada was clearly the optimal choice due to several factors, to which I will elaborate on my top areas of concern. First, Canadian education system is ranked among the best in the world and is equal to one from the US and AU. Having researched the costs of studying abroad, I have concluded that the tuition fee for international students in Canada is relatively cheaper and the cost of living is most affordable. You can get world-class education at a fair and reasonable cost. Among the public schools I've checked in Calgary, business administration diploma is one of Bow Valley's strength and pride, and they offer the cheapest fee. So you have to look into the strengths of your school as well. This is true because when I went to Edu Canada, the strongest program that they had was business administration. So I took that in as well. Second, the country has one of the most multicultural populations in the world where diversity is valued and recognized. Canadians are welcoming and discrimination is rarely an issue, which gives a very enriching experience. Third, Canada is one of the most technologically advanced countries, and technological advancement is critical in the BPO industry. So BPO industry again is the call center industry. This will definitely give me the further edge when I come back. Furthermore, so here I added an article. The think tank Institute for Economics and Peace published the Global Peace Index 2018, which ranked Canada as the sixth safest country around the world. Also, the country values family and supports family unification, to which we as international students have the chance to bring along our spouse and kids and get to experience Canadian life together. And most importantly, based on my extensive research, students who study business in Canada during their first year take up all the general courses, learn all fundamentals, and gain a broad understanding of a multitude of business concepts. Then, on their second year, can choose from a varied palette of specialization. Postgraduate education is possible as well. The professors that teach a business degree are experienced professionals and they come from all over the world, which enlarges our horizon in terms of approaches and business matters. I've also come to realize the difference between the curriculum in the Philippines and in Canada, where the latter is in line with what I want to achieve in my studies and my career. So this one is very important. So it means that you have basically compared there are business programs in the Philippines. So you have to compare what Canada has that programs in your home country do not have. In the last decade, the business world has dramatically changed as globalization has made the management of businesses more complex and demanding. Companies are in need of managers who can operate in a borderless and multicultural environment. And in the Philippines, institutions still offer the most traditional business programs, and those do not sufficiently prepare students for the global nature of today's business environment, especially in the BPO industry, where multicultural nations are involved. Canada's business program has a global business theme at its core, and graduates will have developed an international outlook in life and will be equipped with the skills to start building a global career. So that's it. Um, Actually, that's the shortest one I could make during that time. So there were lots that I wasn't able to include. Yep, let's move on to the next factor. Okay, and next factor would be work background. Why study again? Why business administration? And what are my plans after studies? This may be a jam-packed one, but let's see. This is actually a lot. Okay. So the business process outsourcing or the BPO industry in the Philippines is one of the most dynamic and fastest growing sector in the Philippines. Our country is becoming the center of BPO due to the lower cost of labor and the exemplary skills of people able to deliver tasks. Businesses in some parts of the world, such as the US, UK, Australia, have offshored to the country. I started my career as a representative and quickly moved up the management ladder and had official roles such as SME trainer, team leader for various lines of businesses, and more recently, a business consultant. I was also given the privilege to handle unofficial roles like HR, talent acquisition, payroll and accounting, quality analyst, and I had the chance to be a manager. This is an unofficial role, and spearhead a few accounts that I have worked for. This is due to the reason that I am blessed to have worked with superiors who see my capability to handle these roles and they believe in my potential. Those experiences and people inspired me to have plans of applying for an official, higher, bigger role. And later on, even further pursuing the corporate management where I could handle a greater scope and contribute more impact in the success of a business. Although it excites me, there's one thing keeping me from applying to those higher management roles and pursue being a professional. It is the educational requirement. In this industry, a course in business is a qualification that needs to be met for an applicant to be considered for the roles mentioned. So we're talking about director, CEO, CFO, COO, operations manager, it makes definite sense that they would want to hire someone already equipped with the educational foundation of business. All companies do trainings, but they do not have the luxury of time to teach all the essential knowledge. Taking a program is the best avenue to learn all areas. And to get that from an institution that is globally recognized will give me a great edge, set me apart, and allow me to gain distinctive leverage among these sets of modern professionals. It is of no doubt that international education is highly regarded in the Philippines, most especially in the BPO industry, where we are dealing and working with international clients. Also, having the exposure immerses me in an international setting, which in turn will greatly help me get a deeper understanding of our foreign clients, be it the company I work for or the customers we attend to, which will greatly impact the company in good ways. My last job was a business consultant and was mostly focused on sales and account management. I was also promoted to a team leader where the scope of responsibility was greater. It has been a very remarkable stage in my employment history as I have consistently been at the top of the board and was consistently the number one in consecutive months. My pay, even in my previous works, were above average as the BPO industry offers lucrative packages. In my recent company, in my role, the pay was enormous. I have been taking home 100,000 or more on most months. With this career, I have been able to reach my first million in less than a year, live a more comfortable life, bring my family on travel, spend birthday celebrations, have a grand wedding. I was also able to buy two cars, help our families with some expenses and savings. Have been able to sustain us since the period I and my husband left work. So this is basically where I tell them that I'm not coming here to Canada to like be a permanent resident or to work. And this gives them the assumption that my life here in the Philippines was great. So this gives them the idea that why would you leave a life that, you're making great money, you are with your family, you travel, you have great cars. So yeah, they really will think, hopefully, that after your studies, you're going to come back to that life. So, my overall journey in my career has led me to discover the passion I have in business and how fulfilling my job is being able to help our customers and the company succeed in many ways and grow to higher heights. I have also received various awards and recognitions that it has ignited the spark in me to further explore and my potentials and abilities in the promising world of business. It is a surprise to some as to why I left my amazing job to be able to focus on this aspiration. It has been a long battle of decision making, but there was a point where I came across this quote on Facebook: "Don't work for 8 hours for someone else and then go home and not work on your own goals." I knew it was one of the signs I asked for to help me decide. Now I am more determined than ever to pursue my studies, as I know with this diploma, when I come back home, land my target, and fulfill my goals, I am in a journey to an even more rewarding career, greater pay, and an even more wonderful life for my family. So this is where I, of course, still push it a little further about what's in it for me when I come back. Along with my permanent job, as I have found my passion in business and wanted to try my own, I have long franchised few small home-based businesses. So yeah, this is where I specifically mentioned some things that I have tried out as a business owner, just giving them the idea that I'm really interested in the program that I am pursuing. So I was not able to pursue much during those days as I discovered running a business is much more than that. I was not fully equipped with the fundamentals and knew that I had to learn more with managing my own business. On a good note, coming back from my studies, I am positive that I will be able to restart the aforementioned businesses with a solid background or foundation. In a few years after establishing my career goals and having enough experience in the business sector, my family and I have planned to open up our very own healthcare facility, probably even a gas station or my own BPO company. It is also a dream for me to be able to help our economy prosper and provide employment opportunities to my fellow countrymen. My mother, equipped with the knowledge and 28 years of experience in the healthcare field as a nurse, surely have the capacity to make this healthcare business possible. Further to that, I have made a lot of connections in the BPO world, closed deals and headed accounts, which have exponentially grown. Therefore, a company of my own is feasible given the negotiating prowess I have to acquire clients and partnerships, successful experience in different essential roles, and coupled with a diploma and sufficient knowledge on hand, I will be able to attract future investors and business partners. With all of these exciting things that await me when I come home to the Philippines, I could hardly contain my excitement to start my school journey. So there, I guess it's self-explanatory. You know what I'm trying to say, and I hope it makes sense. Okay, now this is for the family background. So basically, what I'm trying to point out here is that I have a family that I am gonna go home to in the Philippines, or I'm not gonna stay here for long. But let's actually see what I try to explain here. So I am the eldest of my parents' three children and the eldest grandchild as well, and that gave me the innate characteristic of aiming high for myself and for my family. Plus, in the Filipino culture, the eldest has the biggest responsibility in helping the family prosper. We are a close family that supports each other. Although most of my relatives are in different places, constant communication is present and we bond every chance we get. To be able to stay for a while in Calgary will also be a chance for us to spend time with my auntie and my cousins. So because my auntie and his family is here, I did not put that in a negative way. So the officers might see that if you have a relative here, then you might not, just stay here and probably not come home after your studies. So I did not dwell too much on that. I just told them that it's a good opportunity to be able to catch up with my auntie and cousins after a long, time of being away. As the popular Filipino saying goes, and this is true to all aspects, there is no place like home. And the popular OPM song Manila, I keep coming back to Manila. It has always been a plan for all to go back and settle to the Philippines. Thus, my grandparents have reconstructed their house to become a big family house with 2 floors, 8 bedrooms, so that in the near future we can all live in one property. This is connected to the reason why my parents sold their house recently and why I have never opted to buy my own. So I have injected that because the funds that I have used mainly came from the house that my parents sold and was given to me as support to my journey. So I use that as a reason, and I don't have any properties in the Philippines except for cars. I don't have a house under my name, so I used the family background as support as to why I don't have a house. So it doesn't really negatively impact if I don't have a house because of our family background that at the end of it all, we're going to live in one house. My father, now in Riyadh, who is currently 57, will be retiring from his work abroad at the age of 50 and coming back home to the Philippines. It's a perfect time to reunite with family and be the one to provide and give back. It is my turn to take care of them. My mother and brothers will also going back as planned. That we will be starting up a business in a few years. So this is 60 is actually the retiring age for most of us Filipinos. So we have the notion that when 60 comes, you'll be retiring and coming back home to the Philippines. So I injected that so that they would see that it's just in time after I finish my 2 years of studies. So basically, I have a reason to come home because my parents are going to be coming home in after 2 years as well. So I'll be coming back home to reunite. So I'm just trying to put all the pieces together. Next is my husband's family side is a very big and close clan. Although they are huge, it's really amazing to see that everyone has time to get together every occasion there is. Birthday, baptism, all occasions. It has already been a habit to spend time with them every now and then. Although it saddens us that we are going away for the meantime, they support our plans. So I guess this one is mostly for my husband that's coming with me and for our children that's coming with them. So I don't think that if I was applying by myself that I would include that. Next would be travel history. Growing up, my parents worked in the Middle East and brought us to stay with them. So I've lived in Riyadh for years and usually spend the summer vacations in the Philippines. I have visited nearby cities, also traveled to Hong Kong twice. My last travel was for a visit in 2010. Now with our family, our recent international travels were to Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia. Also traveled domestic very often. So this one for travel history, I just put it out there that I have been traveling for quite some time now, and this isn't the first time that I'm going to travel. And I told them that, I come back and forth, back, and I'm still here in the Philippines during that time, and that it's just our nature to travel. So what you have to put here is that, well, that will be at the last part where you follow rules and regulations. So here I just put in that it's not a new journey to me to be in a different place and that I have always come back home to the Philippines after it all. Okay, it doesn't matter if you don't have a travel history. So if you don't have a travel history, my suggestion is you let them know that traveling is really not your priority. So let's say you have your priorities as buying a house, saving up for a car, or if you have a government job, for example, that you're not really approved of a leave for a long while. So usually you only get leaves for like a few days and you decide to spend that with families here or do domestic travels. Or let's say you are patriotic and you love your country very much and you want to explore different locations in your country. That's why you haven't traveled outside of the country. So that's what you may use. So it's not necessary that you have a travel history, although it's going to help, but there's a position that you can make if you don't have a travel history. Okay, so this one, why will my husband and kids be with me in Canada? I will not go to that at the moment. Can we sustain living in Canada? So this one is mostly, I have positioned this because I have a spouse and children coming with me. So if I were to just apply by myself, I will just list the funds that I have and possibly do a computation. I did that for the next few applications that we had. So if it was just me, I went into the SDS. I will just put in that I have already paid tuition fees. I already have a cost of living, and this is what's left on my bank account. This is sufficient enough um, for living in Canada. And you can also put here work. So you can put in there that you can work 20 hours every time you have classes and 40 hours during summer break. So you can do a computation of that. And I have also put in, I think we can focus on this. Aside from funds, our relatives have proactively pledged their support for our family. So if you have sponsors, you can put that here. Yeah, so that's main part. And since I have relatives here in Canada, you can put that as well in your financial support section. Our accommodation, food, and transportation will be covered by them, which cuts a big chunk of expense on our part. There. Furthermore, my husband will be working, so you can change this to you. Okay. And declaration of understanding. This is basically the conclusion for me where I wrap it up, and the most important part as well. Me and my family have always been respectful, so that just change that to you, to any law enforced and have never broken any immigration law. I have obtained proper visas when applicable, followed all rules and regulations of all countries, including Saudi Arabia, which is very well known to have very strict laws, and places we've visited, and we will do the same moving forward. We have carefully reviewed the visas we have applied for and are aware of its restrictions. We solemnly oath to not be a burden to the country. We will only be in Canada for the purposes we have stated, and most importantly, we will not overstay. By all means, we will go back home to the Philippines to pursue the goals we have set after my studies. For your perusal, I have attached all documents that will support our application. A table of contents have been affixed as well for easier navigation. Me and my family Me and my family are in high hopes and a lot of prayers that you find the statement of purpose satisfactory and continue in granting us all of our visas at the earliest possible so we may plan out all matters accordingly. Should you require any more information from me, kindly contact me through and then give your contact information. Sincerely yours, name. There. So I guess that's it. Maybe we can just go through this. Why will your husband or your spouse and kids join you in Canada? So I'll just go through this. It might be able to help you out, but please don't quote me on this because it did not work. I'm not sure which part of it didn't work, but there might be something that you can get from out of it. According to Canada has always been believed that it is important to keep families together. Even Prime Minister Justin Trudeau once said that families who stick together towards a particular goal has economic benefits and is important towards the achievement of work-life balance. Furthermore, I strongly believe that to achieve a well-balanced society, we must start with the strengthening of each family unit, as family is a basic unit of society. So here, I just gave them information that we have always been together. We've been through thick and thin, and we were able to overcome hurdles because we are together. So yeah, we are positive that we will be able to manage our short stay in Canada. We support each other. You know, my husband will support me physically, mentally, emotionally, which is basically the main goal why, you know, they want your spouse and your children to be with you, is to support you during your studies. So my kids are age 3, 5, 8, and of course it's going to be a no-brainer why you want your kids to come with you, right? But the biggest you can just read this out. It's also going to be a great experience for them, having experience in the Canadian education system, and it's important for them to grow up with mother, father, you know, as a complete family, because that is their developmental age where a lot of values and transition happen. So we want to make sure that we are there for them. And also, living in a foreign country is hard, but with family by yourself, you know, that supports you and empowers you, serves as your motivation and inspiration, that's going to help you out succeed in your goal. There. So that's the main point why I want them to be here with me. There. And also, if you bring your family with you, you have to lay out a plan. So do you have daycare scheduled? So in this case, I put in that daycare options are available, that I've already spoken to them, but I have family members here and they have pledged that they're able to support me, you know, take turns in schedules. They're going to help me out, take care of the kids when I'm in school or when I'm at work. So those are some things that I mentioned to them. And also those are part of, since I treat them as sponsors, then those are also listed in their letter of support. So there, that's it. I hope I was able to give you some information that's really going to help you out with your SOP. I may not have gone through all the factors or all the things that you would want an answer on, but if there's anything that I missed or if you have any clarifications, please let me know, and I'll create another video answering that, so that we can help out others as well in their journey.
So that's it, guys. That is it for the content for today. I hope you guys were able to take away bits and pieces, a little bit of information that may help if you are still currently doing your letter of explanation. And if you have received a refusal, I hope some of the tips that I have given would be able to help you out in revising that, and hopefully it gets you your approval in your next submission. So if you have any more questions, and this is just for the study permit, I am also going to create a content about letter of explanation for an open work permit application, for a study permit for minor, a tourist visa, and a visitor record for a toddler. So I've been through all that situations. It's a trial and error. We've had some refusals, so we've come to find out how to be able to address those refusal reasons by the visa officer. That's it. Stay tuned for the next vlogs. I hope you can share this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Share my videos and connect with me. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.